Bruce Arena resigns as the US men's national team coach. I think probably to save face because he would have been fired recently. And on top of that, Scotland's manager, Gordon Strachan, parted ways. I think he was more so fired than parting ways. So managers leaving, but the US is the biggest talking point. So couldn't help but eavesdrop on my teammates, should I say, back in LA, Rick and Jason, talking about this, and they started the conversation on who should be the next manager. Now, from the get-go, Jason needs to pass whatever he was smoking before the clip, with suggesting that Luis Enrique. I think you've got more chance of Jose Mourinho grabbing Paul Pogba on his back, walking across basically the Atlantic Ocean, maybe going underneath and getting the last remaining parts of the Titanic, coming back up and then cruising across the Atlantic right by the Statue of Liberty, right onto New York, and then walking into Sunil Gulati's office and saying, "We both pledge allegiance to the US. The rules have been changed. We can now manage and play for the team." That's probably more likely than Luis Enrique being the next US men's national team manager. But if I am mistaken, I will happily walk back that very well thought out and creative comparison, because there's no chance. But aside from that, I miss having seen that comparison and then looking across and seeing Jason's face startled at how creative I got with that analogy. But regardless, I won't backtrack down memory lane. It's a suggestion now that many people are taking to heart. Who do they want to be the US men's national team coach? I stated way back that the US needed someone who was going to be able to guide them through adversity and get them to the 2018 World Cup. Now, people were like, "Oh, Bruce Arena is the right guy for that because he knows US soccer." Well, knowing US soccer got you absolutely nowhere, because he knows US soccer and also knows that it's all part of this. Let's get the MLS players out there. Let's get the guys from the Orlando City soccer team or the Atlanta Hawk Devils out there to try and boost the league. But doing that isn't going to get the league boosted. Doing that is going to make you lose, because you need those European-bred players to help get you to a level, and then you need to work on the system itself in order to get more competition. Install relegation promotion, which I know is a bigger conversation. That's how you get the MLS better and you get the youth better to get more players developed. You can't get a manager to come in and switch that all up and try to bring in players from the MLS who aren't good enough, starting Omar Gonzalez and players like that, to try and get you to a World Cup. Because the biggest goal should have been, for any manager coming in, get us to a World Cup. Someone who comes in and knows how to bind together, make the team hard to beat, and maybe aren't so pretty going forward, but they win games. That manager should have been someone like a Gus Hiddink, who's done it with Australia, done it with South Korea, but they didn't. They wanted Bruce Arena, and that was the biggest mistake they made. They should have kept hold of Jurgen Klinsmann if that was what their plan was. So now Bruce Arena resigns, as I mentioned, which I think part of his statement I will read to you. "It's the greatest privilege of any coach to manage their country's national team, and as I leave that role today, I'm honoured and grateful to have that opportunity twice in my career. When I took the job last November, I knew there was a great challenge ahead, probably more than most people could appreciate." No, we knew it was a challenge, but that challenge had to be addressed by putting out your best starting 11, getting the best out of those players who have had more experience, I think, across the pond, and been able to play them in their right positions to do so. Building a back line around a DeMarcus Beasley at left back and an Omar Gonzalez at centre back is a flaw regardless of how big the task is. You make it harder when you do that. So now, who's going to be the next manager? Now, it's a tough one as well. Like, some people are touting Carlo Ancelotti. I don't want to make the same comparison that I just made about Luis Enrique, but Carlo Ancelotti, on the other hand, a little bit more likely, even though he's in the same category of coaches. It's just unlikely that he would take this job. Like, it's in the right frame of mind to try and get someone who has, as Rick outlined, coached the Messis and the Suarez of the world. It's just a little easier said than done. But my mindset now is, you've already lost the World Cup. So you don't need a manager like that to come in immediately, who's going to work on try to get things going immediately the way I think Gus Hiddink would have been able to do. Now you're on the other side of it now, where you just need to gut the whole thing and look at someone who's going to work on developing youth, as well as trying to get more players experience, who have had more experience in Europe, to come in. Like, England had a very similar turnaround where they needed to start installing a manager to change up their youth system. And so happens that they suffer the same problem of going to the go-to fixers. Sam Allardyce, Roy Hodgson, I mean, Capello is a decent acquisition, I think. Sven-Goran Eriksson, similar. But now the US is almost blessed with their lack of pressure that is needed. Now, there will be the nitwits out there that don't understand the way soccer works, and they'll be like, no, we need someone to come in and win. Win what? What are you playing for now? You don't have anything to play for. You now have a manager who can come in and maybe develop more of the youth team. Maybe the U20 US men's national team is looking pretty good. We can maybe tap into that coach and acquire him to move forward. But I think the biggest question is Sunil Gulati is another one who probably needs to go next because he hasn't made the right decisions for the US. So I don't know. Gus Hiddink is still pretty good acquisition or somewhat in that sort of range of manager. But you now just kind of have an open book. The suggestions you're not limited to trying to go out and get the best. Any coach who's experienced is going to be a good acquisition, who's dealt with European footballs, I think, who understands making a team hard to beat to start with because the US are far too easily beat. You want pretty football, you want Christian Pulisic banging in goals, but that means shite when you lose every sort of counter-attack and anyone looks like they can score. Like Liverpool, they look very good going forward, but if you put any team on the counter-attack, there's a good chance they've got a possibility of scoring. So that's my 2 cents. I'm sure the lads will maybe do another clip on this as well, but let me know what you think in the comment section below, and I'll see you soon.